Your D&D cities have a tavern, a market, a captain of the guard, and somehow they still feel empty. You've tried adding lore, factions, even secret tunnels, but nothing works. And until you fix that, every location you build will feel like the last and be boring to play in. I've been playing D&D for over 20 years and I struggled with this a lot. So in this video, I'll give you a simple framework for building cities that feel real, lived in, and exciting for your players to explore, so your world finally feels different and your players want to get lost in it. Alright, so imagine your players just stepped into a brand new city. When you spent hours crafting, there's a tavern, a shop, maybe even a temple. You've got names, map, a few juicy NPC backstories ready to go, and yet they walk through it like it's cardboard. No curiosity, no tension, no spark. It used to happen to me all the time, and I kept thinking, what's missing? Why does it feel hollow? Until eventually, I realized cities don't feel alive because of how much lore they have. They feel alive because of the friction between people. It's not about buildings, it's about gravity. What? Okay, let me explain. Take a dungeon. It naturally pulls players forward through hallways into danger. But a city is different. A real city pulls players in different directions. It's the protest at the courthouse, the deal by the docks, the priest shouting at the palace gates. All of it's pulling at you at once. That's why real cities feel alive. Not because they're tidy and drawn on a beautiful map, but because they're tugging at you from all sides. That's what I like to call faction gravity. Okay, let me show you how it works with a brand new city just for this video. Blackwater sits at the mouth of 3 rivers, and as you enter the market square, tension is immediate. To the east, merchant guild reps auction spice crates and storm glass, waving contracts under sweating brows. To the west, harbor officials in navy cloaks stop caravans and confiscate papers. And straight ahead, copper-robed scholars from the title college argue over tide charts, surrounded by a growing crowd. You don't need to say it out loud, but the players will feel it. These people do not get along, and whatever direction their characters choose, they're walking into it. Now, let's say the players head toward the docks. A merchant shoves past. Furious. They tripled my tariffs overnight. That scholar must have tipped them off. Moments later, an officer drags a crate off a cart and shouts for backup. The merchant argues. The scholar steps in. Voices rise. Hands go to weapons. Okay, maybe not as extreme, but you get the point, right? No quests, no exposition, and they're already knee-deep in tension. That's what good faction gravity does. It doesn't wait for the players to ask, it shows them the stakes. To do this, pick 3 or 4 factions with clashing goals. Maybe it's the Merchant Guild, they're all about profit, the City Guard, Order Lovers, and a banned cult expecting a revelation. Then you give them public-facing roles in different parts of the city. The Guild runs the docks, the guard controls the gates, and the cult meets in the ruins under the old cathedral. And then you overlap their turf on purpose. Maybe all 3 have reasons to be in the market square. Now the guard's patrolling the stalls, the guild is arguing over tariffs, and a cloaked figure just lit a candle at the edge of the fountain. That's it. You've created a pressure cooker. You make the tension visible. On display, markets, plazas, ports, temples, those are your friction zones. And the moment your players see that pressure, well, your city isn't so empty anymore. By the way, if you're thinking, this is great in theory, I can't wait for my players to explore my new city, but they always just derail everything I prepare. Well, that's why I created the Plot Engineering Blueprint, a short guide that helps you build stories that adapt seamlessly to player choices. Kinda like your story's survival kit, and you can grab it for free by clicking the link in the description. Alright, so your factions are clashing and the city's pulling in different directions. Things are finally starting to feel alive. Then something weird happens. The game moves on, but the city just sits there like a painting, pretty detailed, unchanging. And that's the second trap. Cities that feel like stage sets. You know what I mean? You describe them once, the players explore a bit, and then it's frozen in place. No shifting tides, no real changes in rhythm, no more surprises. I think real cities are different, and the way I like to think about it is they're more like weather than architecture. Just bear with me. me. The same street will have a totally different feel depending on the time, the crowd, or even the lights. Like, a marketplace at dawn could buzz with ambition, and at night become quiet, dangerous, maybe even haunted. To create this at the table, I like to use something I call environmental pressure valves. It's all about building your city like a living organism. Same bones, but different states. In Blackwater, the docks are packed by day. Harbor officials argue over manifests. Scholars measure tidal patterns. Laborers howl crates past shouting merchants. But come nightfall, the officials are gone. The scholars disappear. Now it's smugglers in shadowed corners. Brass lanterns swaying in the sea breeze. Cloaked figures slip between alleys, whispering about the alignment. The layout didn't change, but the mood and the stakes are very different. A city doesn't need new buildings, it just needs to transform. It's also very easy to do. Just start by picking 2 to 3 time phases, like day, dusk, midnight, or quiet season versus festival week, curfew versus celebration. It's not a schedule. Don't sweat it too much. You're creating emotional modes. Then you shift control. Who runs this place in the day? Does that change at night? Maybe the guards run the market by day, but the guild takes over when the lights go out. Maybe the noble district turns from polished marble to scandal. And then you make the transitions visible. Have the bell towers ring, show a lantern lighting ceremony, let players witness the shopkeepers closing their shutters, or the smuggler placing a candle in the window. Every shift is a new signal. Something has changed. The rules are different now. Suddenly, the familiar becomes unfamiliar again, and it instantly makes your city feel more real. Because players are people, and people don't remember static descriptions. People remember change, like the shift in power, the flicker of a lantern, the silence before something happens. So if your city ever starts to feel flat, don't build more. Just let it breathe. Alright, so your city's busy, it shifts over time, it's full of tension, but somehow it's still forgettable? Really? That's when you realize, at the risk of sounding a bit corny, your city's missing a soul. Think about it. Really think about the most memorable cities in fiction. Not the ones with the best maps, the ones that made you feel something. Minas Tirith, I'm sorry for the pronunciation. For example, it doesn't just have walls, even though it does have beautiful walls, but it feels like defiance. And Ankh-Morpork is deliciously chaotic, in a good way. None of that came from lore dumps or district names. It came from the vibe, the resonance. So I'll call the way I approach building this the resonant theme technique. It's not about facts, it's about emotional gravity, the feeling that everything in this place shares the same truth. And in our Blackwater example, the theme is secrecy. Kids speak in code, strangers whisper and glance sideways. Alleyways don't lead where you expect. Even the architecture lies. False doors, hidden stairwells, winding paths that don't match the maps. And suddenly, when a merchant offers a strange discount, the players don't cheer, they hesitate. If a beggar follows them for 2 blocks, they don't think pickpocket, they wonder, what does he know? Everything, from the streets to the shopkeepers, points to the same emotional truth. The city is not just a backdrop anymore, it's a character. To do this, pick one dominant emotion, like paranoia, ambition, pride, or grief, or faith. Don't try to be subtle here. Pick one and lean in hard. Then reflect it everywhere. Physically, what's in the architecture? What materials? What shapes repeat? Socially, how do people act in public? What's taboo? What's celebrated? Interpersonally, how do NPCs talk? What secrets do they keep? What is just beneath the surface? And then create what I call seed ambassadors. By that, I mean 2 to 3 NPCs who embody the theme in different ways. One might lean into it, one might push against it, one might even weaponize it. When everything feels like it belongs together, shares the same vibe, players stop seeing your city as a place to buy potions, and they start treating it like it matters. By the way, I like coming up with short examples like this for videos, but let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a more in-depth video where I create a more complete city from A to Z. Never done that kind of thing before, so I don't know if you guys would be into that. Yeah, okay, but this sounds like a lot of work, man. Well, yeah, but also no. I mean, it doesn't have to be, because it can already get you great results in a very minimal format. Let's say you have 0 city prep sessions tomorrow and you need something quick. Try this. Resonant Theme, Desperate Ambition, Faction Gravity, Guard, Stability, Merchant Guild, Status, and Criminal Underworld, shortcuts. And Pressure Valve, Day equals Public Order, and Night equals Hidden Power. Boom! Now your players enter a place where every NPC wants something, bribes are currency, gossip is intelligence. After sunset, the rules change. And your city becomes the story. You will need to improvise quite a bit if you stub there, sure, but it's way easier to improvise when the foundations are cool and feel unique. But my players are just passing through. Is it even worth it? Yes, because you can show all of that immediately, and it will help you improvise the NPCs and places you need to create on the spot. A greedy city? Well, the innkeeper charges extra for cutlery. A paranoid city? Guards confiscate the player's sanding stones. A desperate city? Someone asks to buy their boots. These moments breathe life into your setting. But what if I've already shown the city to my players? Well, good. That means they think they know it. Now you get to reveal they were wrong. Not a retcon, just the world deepening. That pristine temple? Turns out it was rebuilt after a cover-up. When you look closer, you can see that these marble walls hide mismatched stone. The clergy won't talk about it, but the oldest hymns, they reference someone erased. Those strict city guards, they weren't always like this. A scandal broke years ago. Half the force was fired, so the new ones are fresh recruits and they're paranoid about optics. The point is, you don't have to change the map. You reveal what was buried under it. That's how you transform a used-up city into something deeper. And once the players realize the surface was kinda hiding the whole truth, they will probably start paying attention again. So now your cities feel alive. Congratulations! They breathe, they shift, and most importantly, they matter. But have you ever had a session where everything should have worked and it still fell flat? Invested players, strong setting, and yet the energy just wasn't there. Why? What are you missing? Well, what if you could not only understand why, but also fix that problem? Man, you're in luck. Click on this video next and you will learn 6 ways to fix a boring D&D campaign fast.